Some of you will choose to revise paper 2, in which you engage in a rhetorical analysis of a monument of your choosing. You will analyze it, identifying its presented and suggested elements, and formulating an argument about the structure's ideology. In this video, I will demonstrate how to use the library's databases to locate magazine, newspaper, and journal articles, as well as book chapters and essays about monuments and memorials. I'll use as my examples the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, as well as a statue of Civil War Confederate General Robert E. Lee. The search strategies I use in my examples can always be transferred to other topics that you might have for other English papers. So we're going to start at the research guide for the English major, which is where I always suggest you begin your research. And we're going to focus on finding articles. So I'm going to click on this tab here, and you're going to see the three of four of the tracks that English majors can follow. And since we're dealing with a rhetorical analysis of an item, I'm going to switch to the section on language, writing, and rhetoric. However, for other papers, if you're working on a literary studies or cultural studies topic, you'd want to look at the sources listed under here. And alternately, if you're working on a topic that has to do with media studies, you would click on this tab to identify the most important databases in media studies. So we're going back to language, writing, and rhetoric. And what I've done here is I've included a lot of the the most important databases for finding journal articles, as well as other materials that are important to the field of rhetoric, language, and writing. The most important one is communication and mass media. However, you can search all of these. Another really good important one is Academic Search Ultimate, which is a multidisciplinary database, and the MLA also has a lot of good material in it. I tend to use Google Scholar when I've exhausted my other databases and have not found much, because it is so very comprehensive. Also, some of you, if you're working on a very local topic or a topic for which there is not a lot of scholarly material, you might want to investigate some of the newspaper databases, and these are listed in this section right here. And also, I've included links to JSTOR and Project Muse. Both of those are also very good databases, and they have a lot of the journal articles in the area in the humanities. One other thing I want to mention, what's nice about Google Scholar, and I'll show an example later on. If you find a really good article that's on your topic, you can use Google Scholar to update that article by finding other scholars who have cited that article, and also make use of Google Scholar's really good relevancy ranking to identify other similar articles or other articles that deal with a similar topic. So let's start by going into communication and mass media complete. Now this, along with many of our other databases, are subscription databases. So when you first log in from off campus, it will ask you to authenticate with your university ID and password. So we're now in the database, and we're going to do a quick search. We'll start with our first topic, which is the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Okay, so we have 19 results. That's not a whole lot. But you might want to start with that. And what you're going to start to see are the titles of the articles. Some of the resources may be videos or books or chapters in books. So it's a mix of things, but it's mostly going to be the journal articles. And if you're lucky, the PDF is available right there as full text. So let's say you've exhausted these 19 and you want to look for more material. You might want to go into where it says choose databases, and here you will see all of the other EBSCO, uh, all of the other databases that are in the EBSCO platform. And you're welcome to pick and choose different ones or add additional ones that you want to search. Or when you're not finding a whole lot, I'd sort of hedge my bets and I choose all of them. And we will go back and we will rerun the search on this using these keywords. And you're going to see a huge number of hits, way more than I would want. So now we want to focus the results a little bit. So we might want to put in the word rhetorical, or if you prefer, you can make use of the asterisk, which is a truncation symbol. This is commonly used in database searching, and by putting the asterisk after the R, it will ensure that you will retrieve any articles that mention some form of the word rhetor. So you'll get rhetor, rhetorical, rhetoric, rhetorician, etc. Now, when you add a secondary concept, you're going to get much fewer results. The more terms you add to your searches, the fewer your results. So we're going to rerun the search, and we're down to only 46, which is a much more manageable number. I always also suggest that you change your page options for several reasons. It automatically defaults to showing 10 records per page. You can change that to 50 per page. And that does two things. It makes it easier to browse because you're looking at 20 items at a time, but it also removes duplicates. Remember, we're searching many databases, and some of them share the same sources. So we're going to use this option to limit the results. So again, this is a very manageable number. Now, from here, you have other options. If you wish, you can, and if you see on the left-hand side, these are different limiters that you can put onto your search. So I'm really right now specifically interested in academic journals. So I'm going to choose that as my source type, and I'm going to get fewer. I'm down to 13. But what I have here are definitely articles that from academic journals or scholarly journals that have something to do with the Vietnam Veterans Memorial and rhetoric. So this is a really good search results to start with. So let's browse through a couple of these. And you can see as we're browsing through, they do look quite relevant. So let's pull up number 7. Let's take a look at this. Click on this. And when you click on the title, you get a little bit more information about the article, right? It tells you what source it appears in, date and everything. It tells you a little bit more about what the article is about, and it gives you a nice summary. So this is definitely an article that's on point. I do want to mention on the left-hand side, you can't really see it because you can't view the full screen right now, but there's a cite button here. And if you click on that and then choose MLA style, you will find the citation to the source in MLA style, and you can copy and paste that into your bibliography. These are machine generated, so you always want to make sure all of the information is in there in the right format. So double check it against the formatting style, but most of the good information is there. All right, so the next step is to try to find the article. Sometimes there will be on the left-hand side a PDF of the actual article, and if so, that's great. You just click on it. If not, you have to make use of the Find at UMD link. And in this case, what it has done is it's actually found that we do have access to that journal in our subscription collection, and it's actually matched a link to it. So we're going to click on View Full Text, and then in this case, it's actually taken me to the article, and we can click on the PDF and get the full text. All right, I also mentioned to you that the Google Scholar is a really great way of updating your sources. So I'm going to actually go back. I've copied the title of the article. I'm going to go back to the guide, and I'm going to go into Google Scholar. And then from here, I'm simply going to type in the title of the article, and there it is. And you can see it has been cited 4 times, so you could look at those 4 citations. You could also look at related articles, and it might lead you to other articles that are somewhat about that topic or topics similar to that. All right, so let's go back to the list of results. And let me see if I can find another example. All right, so this one here, number 3, actually, again, we're clicking on the title. In this case, the full text is actually there, okay? And again, it tells you a little bit about the source, but we're going to actually go in and take a look at this source. One of your objectives is to try to find scholarly peer-reviewed journal articles. And a lot of these databases will point you to those kinds of sources, but you also have to be able to understand when you're confronted with an article as to be able to assess whether or not it is a scholarly journal article or not. And there are a number of ways to do that. You might recognize the title of the journal as being, this is a very important journal in the field of speech communications. You might want to do some research on the authors. If it's a scholarly journal, there's probably some kind of CV or bio that includes information on who they are. The authors tend to be professors at universities. Generally, the articles are very lengthy, not 2 or 3 pages, more like 10 to 30 pages. And usually at the very end of the article will be copious notes. Here in this case, we see that when she was writing the article, Carol Blair was an assistant professor at the University of California, Davis. So that establishes her as an authority. And then further down are tons of references to other articles about, that this person or these people researched in order to write their article. So those are things to look at to help you identify if a source is a scholarly journal. All right, so let's say you were looking at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial using the lens of cultural studies. You might want to put in that as a keyword. So we're combining cultural studies with Vietnam Veterans Memorial, and we will get a very different result list. There might be some duplicates, but there's going to still be some very unique material here. It has taken away my limiting option, so I'm going to limit again. In this case, I might want to limit to academic journals as well as ebooks. It's your choice how you want to set your limits. And here we have 6 possibilities. And lastly, another example might be perhaps you want to write about the Vietnam Veterans Memorial through the lens of patriotism. You might want to put in that term or some form of that term. Patriot with an asterisk gets anything with that stem, patriot, patriots, patriotism. Run the search, and you'll get, again, a totally different number of hits, okay? All right, let me now clear the search here. And I want to clear it of all of my limiters. It looks like they're all cleared. Okay, on the left. I'm going to switch to a different topic. Now we're looking for articles about the statue of Robert E. Lee that is located in Richmond, Virginia. And Robert E. Lee was a very important Confederate Confederate general during the Civil War. And you notice I'm putting quotes around his name. That's because that ensures that those three words, or the two words in the letter, appear one right next to the other. And we're going to look for anything that combines his name with the word statue. And we want to limit to the specific statue that exists, that is in Richmond, Virginia. So we're going to use the term Richmond. But we're also going to hedge our bets by saying it could be that the article references that it's in Virginia. So this will retrieve results where Robert E. Lee's name is in the record along with the word statue and either Richmond or Virginia. So we're going to run the search. And there is quite a lot. A lot of what we're finding, though, are going to be newspaper articles, short magazine articles. So again, I'm going to limit to academic journals. And I'm only down to 5. So when you use those limiters, you sometimes lose a huge amount of material. So what I recommend in this case, when you're not finding a lot, that you think of other keywords that might mean something similar, and that you use the truncation symbol very liberally. So we're looking for anything that has statue as its stem, but maybe some people are mentioning the term, instead of statue, perhaps they're using the term memorial or monument. So, and you notice I'm using the or operator, so I'm stringing along related terms or synonyms, and I'm separating the words with an or. And you're going to see that we're going to jump from 5 records to many, many more. So again, we're up to 612. However, it has moved, it's taken out our source type. So we're going to limit again to academic journals. And we have about 15. These are all scholarly journals. And as we browse through them and look at some of the titles, they look pretty good. So we're going to look at this number 3. This is an article, fairly lengthy article. It's a 22-page article. It's in a scholarly journal called Studies in the History of Art. And as you look at the summary and the subject terms, it has a lot to do with this as an equestrian statue, because he is sitting on a horse, and the whole concept of Southern power, symbolism of war, and so forth. And then again, you want to try to find the article. There is no PDF listed here, so you need to rely on the Find at UMD. And in this case, we do not have access to the journal Studies in the History of Art, but you do have the option of requesting it through interlibrary loan. So basically, you just click on that, log in, and I've already logged in. And what it does is it puts all of the information about the journal into an interlibrary loan form. It's all there. You can double check it if you want, and then you can actually place the request, and it will send that request to our interlibrary loan staff, who will then fill the request for you. A lot of our e-journals, or a lot of our requests for journals on interlibrary loan are delivered pretty quickly, maybe within 3 or 4 days. It's always good to do your research ahead of time, because you might need to make use of that service, which does take a little bit of time, but it's pretty quick. So that's sort of the overview of how to make use of some of these databases. And again, I always like to remind my English students that after you've exhausted some of these materials, if you're still having trouble finding material on your topic, or perhaps you found a reference to an article that looks really, really good, but you can't, figure out how to get the full text, please email me, okay? And you can email me. My contact information, again, if we go to the home page, is here front and center. And also, if you want, you can always ask to make an appointment with me, and we can work through Zoom so that I can cover how to find materials, and not just for this course, but for any of your other English courses. So I do want to wish you the best of luck in your research, and that's it for now. Bye-bye.